Hey everyone, welcome! Today we're diving into something really cool. A project that's not just about practicing your coding skills, but about building something that's going to seriously beef up your resume and help you land that job. We're breaking down the Employee Management System Capstone project. So you've been grinding away, learning all the fundamentals, right? And now you're probably asking yourself, okay, what's that one project, the one that's really going to make my portfolio pop and get employers to notice me? If that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1. We're going to look at why this Employee Management System, or EMS for short, is pretty much the perfect capstone project. Seriously, think of this as your ticket to showing companies what you can actually do. So, what is it really? Well, at its core, the EMS is a full-on back-end project. It's designed to take all those separate things you've been learning, Java, how databases work, building APIs, and it smashes them all together into one practical, real-world application. It's basically a simulation of what you'd be building in your first developer job. And just check out what you'll be doing. This isn't some simple little Hello World app. No way. You're building a complete back-end system using Spring Boot. You're creating RESTful APIs, you're implementing real security with JWT. Think of it like a digital bouncer for your app. You'll hook it all up to a MySQL database, and you'll even deploy the whole thing to the cloud. We're talking the full cycle, from A to Z. Okay, on to Section 2. Let's talk about the skeleton of the system, the foundation. Before you can write a single line of code that does something cool, you need a solid plan, a solid architecture. This right here is what separates the hobby projects from the professional-grade applications. This project uses a classic industry-standard design pattern, the three-layered architecture. Basically, it's about keeping things organized. You've got the presentation layer or controller that handles what the user sends in, then the business logic or service, which is the brains of the operation, and finally, the data access or repository, which talks to the database. Now, why do we do this? It's simple. It makes your code way easier to manage, to test, and it means a whole team could work on it without stepping on each other's toes. So let's trace the journey of a single request, okay? Imagine a user clicks Save Profile. Boom. That request flies into the controller layer first. The controller catches it and says, hey, service layer, I need you to handle this. The service layer then does all the heavy lifting, all the thinking, and then it turns to the repository and says, all right, take this data and save it in the database. That simple flow, that's the heartbeat of the whole application. Okay, so we've got the blueprints, the architecture is solid. Now for the really fun part. What does this thing actually do? Let's dive into the key features and see it in action. A huge part of this system is managing who can do what. You've got two main roles here, admin and employee. Think of the admin as the manager with the keys to the whole building. They can add, delete, update anyone and anything. Then you have the employee. They have a key, but it only opens their own office door. They can see and update their own info, but that's it. This separation is absolutely crucial for any serious application. And the project isn't just one big blob of code. It's neatly broken down into these core modules. You're basically building a bunch of mini systems that all talk to each other. You've got user authentication, employee management, and so on. But pay attention to those last two, global exception handling and input validation. These are the things that separate the pros from the amateurs. It's about making your app strong and preventing it from crashing or accepting bad data. So, if someone were to build a website or a mobile app for this, how would they talk to our backend? Well, they'd use these API endpoints. It's like a menu of options. You've got clear addresses like /API employees and standard commands like get to fetch data or post to add new data. And check out that role required column. That's our security guard at work again. It makes sure only an admin can, say, delete an employee. Super important. All right, Section 4, let's talk about the tools of the trade. Because let's be real, a project is only as impressive as the tech it's built with. And this is where the EMS project becomes an absolute resume goldmine. I mean, just look at this tech stack. It's a greatest hits list of what companies want. You've got Spring Boot, which is huge in the Java world. You're using a modern version of Java, a rock-solid database like MySQL, and pro tools like Postman and Git. Literally every single one of these is a keyword that recruiters are typing into LinkedIn right now. And we've got to talk about security again, because it's not just some feature tacked on at the end. It's woven into the very fabric of the project. First, Authentication asks, who are you? And makes you prove it with a login. Once you're in, Authorization asks, okay, what are you allowed to do? And all the while, validation is acting like a filter, making sure no bad or garbage data gets in. It's a 3-layered shield that keeps the application safe. So you've built this amazing application on a professional tech stack, but the job isn't over. Not even close. The final, critical piece of the puzzle is taking it live. There are 6 key steps to take your code from your local computer to the cloud, proving you can finish what you start. And here's the roadmap for that deployment. You'll configure your environment variables, get your database credentials set up, package the whole application up neatly with Maven, and then push it out to a real cloud platform, like Render or AWS. The final step? You hit those live APIs with Postman to make sure everything is working perfectly in the wild. That's the full journey, from an idea to a live product. Okay, we've covered the what, the how, and the where. We've seen the architecture, the features, and how to get it deployed. But now we get to the most important part. The so what? What does this all mean for you? Let's wrap this up by talking about the exact skills you're going to be adding to your resume. So here's the payoff. When you're done with this, you can look an interviewer in the eye and say, I've built a real-world backend with Spring Boot and MySQL. I've implemented secure JWT-based authentication. I've mastered database operations. I know how to handle errors gracefully. And yes, I've deployed a production-ready REST API. Every single one of these checkmarks is a knockout punch in a technical interview. And at the end of the day, that's what this is really about. This is not just another project that's going to sit on your GitHub collecting dust. It's your proof of work. It's the ace up your sleeve when an interviewer leans forward and asks, so, can you show me something you've built? This is your answer. Now go build it.